Today we're going to explore a fascinating and mysterious topic: travelers from the future in ancient paintings. Did some works of art predict modern technology? Let's find out together. It's hard to believe, but some ancient works of art seem to show objects that look incredibly similar to modern devices, such as the iPhone. Did these artists have a vision of the future, or is there another explanation? Let's take a look at some intriguing examples. The first work we're going to explore is Mr. Pinchen and the Settling of Springfield, painted by Umberto Romano in 1937. This work depicts a historical moment in the colonization of North America, but what really catches the eye is a surprising detail. If you look closely, you'll see an indigenous man holding something that looks incredibly like a modern smartphone. The resemblance is striking and begs the question: is it possible that a device like this could have appeared in a painting from almost a century ago? Let's take a closer look. Notice how he holds the object with one hand, looking intently at it, as we would when using a phone today. The posture and focus on the object are very similar to using a smartphone. Of course, there are several possible explanations. It could be a mirror, a piece of metal, or even a book. But why do these ordinary objects remind us so much of a smartphone? Perhaps it's the simple, rectangular design common to many modern devices. Let's consider the historical context. Mirrors were common, and small metal objects could be used for various functions. Art often reflects the everyday objects of the time, but it can also include symbolism that we don't fully understand today. But what really fuels our imagination is the resemblance to a smartphone. It may be a coincidence, but it also makes us reflect on the nature of human creativity and imagination. Did artists like Umberto Romano have a vision of the future, conscious or unconscious? Romano was known for his detailed style and his ability to capture historical scenes with precision. Perhaps he simply captured a common moment of his time, which happened to resemble something we know today. What do you think? Is it just a coincidence, or is there more behind these similarities? Leave your opinions in the comments. This was just the first example of many that we're going to explore today. So stay tuned, and let's continue our journey through the mysteries of art and time. The next work we're going to explore is Baptism of Christ, painted by Aert de Gelder in 1710. This religious work captures a significant moment in Christianity, but there is a detail in the sky that catches the eye of many modern observers. If you look up at the sky, you'll see a bright object that looks a lot like a modern UFO. The circular shape and the rays of light emanating from it are extremely similar to contemporary depictions of flying saucers. Let's take a closer look. Notice how the object is positioned in the center of the sky, illuminating the scene below. To many, this looks like a UFO, but at the time, it could have been interpreted as a divine manifestation or a celestial symbol. In religious art, it is common to find representations of divine light and celestial phenomena. However, the resemblance to a modern UFO is hard to ignore. The shape and rays of light align with many descriptions of UFO sightings. But why does such a modern object appear in an ancient painting? Some believe it could be a harbinger or a prophetic vision of future technologies. Others say it's just a coincidence, a modern interpretation of an ancient symbol. Did Aert de Gelder have a vision of the future, or are we just interpreting the painting with our modern perspective? The next work is The Expected One by Ferdinand George Waldmüller, painted in 1860. This work depicts a young woman walking along a country path, but what she is holding in her hands is what really catches our eye. If you look closely, she seems to be holding something that looks very much like a smartphone. Her posture, looking down, focused on the object, is something we see every day on modern streets. Note how she holds the object with both hands, a very common gesture for anyone using an electronic device. The resemblance is undeniable, isn't it? Back then, it could have been a prayer book, a letter, or another personal object. The interpretation that it's a smartphone is influenced by our own familiarity with technology. But the question remains, why does it look so much like a modern device? Art often captures ordinary moments of daily life, but her posture and concentration on the object make us think of a smartphone. Is it just a coincidence or a vision of the future? Some theorists believe that artists like Waldmüller could have had an intuitive vision of future technologies, even if unconsciously. The next work we are going to explore is Man Handing a Letter to a Woman in the Entrance Hall, painted by Peter de Hooch in 1670. This work depicts an everyday scene of an exchange of letters, but what really catches the eye is the object in the man's hand. If you look closely, it seems that the man is handing over something that resembles a modern device. His posture and the way he holds the object may remind us of how we hold and hand over smartphones today. Note how the object is held with one hand, a gesture that is very common when handling a smartphone. The resemblance is undeniable, but is it really a modern device? Back then, exchanging letters was a common part of daily life. It may be that the object is just a letter or a document, but the posture and the way the object is held make us think of a technological device. Peter de Hooch's art is known for capturing domestic and everyday scenes with great precision. But why does this particular object look so much like a smartphone? It could just be a coincidence, or perhaps our modern perception is influencing our interpretation. Still, it's fascinating how something so old can look so familiar. The next work we're going to explore is Portrait of Frederick Sluijskin, painted by Ferdinand Bol in the 17th century. This portrait captures the figure of Frederick Sluijskin in a detailed way. But did you notice anything familiar about this painting? Look closely at his shoes. Curious, isn't it? We can see a symbol on Frederick Sluijskin's sneakers that looks incredibly similar to the famous Nike logo. The resemblance is striking and begs the question, how can such a modern symbol appear on a 17th century painting? Of course, it's possible that it's just a coincidence. Perhaps it's a decorative pattern common at the time, or a stylistic detail that the artist included without any intention of predicting the future. But the similarity is hard to ignore. So what can we conclude from these incredible coincidences between ancient art and modern symbols or objects? Did these artists have glimpses of the future, or are we just seeing what we want to see through the lens of our own time? These works make us reflect on the nature of time, creativity, and interpretation. Are these apparent premonitions the result of coincidence, or is there something deeper at play? Perhaps it's a combination of both, where the power of art transcends eras and connects us in unexpected ways. Regardless of the answers, it's fascinating to explore these possibilities and imagine the stories behind each brushstroke. And that's where the real magic of art lies, in its ability to provoke questions and make us dream. So the next time you visit a museum or gallery, take a closer look. Perhaps you'll find other details that defy time and spark your imagination. Keep exploring, questioning, and marveling at the power of art. Thank you for accompanying us on this fascinating journey through paintings and time. Don't forget to leave your opinions in the comments, share this video, and subscribe to the channel for more intriguing content like this. See you next time.